Hey guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. So you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Repeat. So let's go ahead and jump right back into where we left off, guys. Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes. We'll entertain you, and let's jump right in. Alarm sound, you're up, and let's go. Alright. His door is slightly open. I think I can hear someone familiar. I couldn't help but take a peek inside. That's all the assignments. Are you still awake, Phillip? Yeah. Of course. Good, because you'll want to hear what's next. I've taken the liberty to remove you from my claw class and transfer you to Mrs. Corliss' digital and studio art class. What? Why? Am I failing, or...? Quite the contrary. You're actually at the top of your class and outscored all your peers. Then why are you transferring me? Would you like the gentle answer or the honest one? Honest it is, then. To be frank, you look absolutely miserable in every waking moment in my class, and those waking moments are quite rare. Seriously, Phillip, I never had a student look so soul-suckingly numb. It makes me want to break down in tears every morning. You look like the perfect zombie student spreading the sad around. I'm... sorry? Soul-sucking aside, I think you'll be much happier in Mrs. Corliss' class. Your artwork is quite impressive. More importantly, you seem to actually enjoy it. I can't do that. My mother always pushed me to be a lawyer, a doctor, or something more professional. You'll be the one who lives and breathes your future career, not your mother. You deserve to do something that makes you happy, Phillip. There was an awkward pause in the office before Mr. Rokov coughed loudly. Anyway, I believe our little session is almost finished. Onward to the next order of business. I believe our guest has arrived. Why don't you come in, Adrian? I jumped and practically stumbled into the door. Adrian, what are you doing here? I got a note that said I was supposed to be here. I totally wasn't eavesdropping or anything. Your eavesdropping is forgiven. Anyway, I called you both here to discuss a certain incident yesterday that you both witnessed. Would you two care to describe what happened between the quarrel between Mr. Dorcas Dolores and the student Sissel? Oh, so that's what's going on. Sounds like Mr. Dolores is finally getting the payback he deserves. Good riddance, too. That guy was an awful teacher. Was Phillip at the incident yesterday, too? It sure seems like it. I told Mr. Rokov everything that happened yesterday, from Mr. Dolores yelling at me to show Sissel, to how Sissel stepped in to defend me and had got manhandled as a result. I couldn't help but grin as I described how red Dolores got when his hair flew away in the wind. Behind me, Phillip tries to muffle his laughter. I'm glad Adrian was there to step in and stop him. You really saved Sissel and from Dolores. I felt my face grow a little red. I was there too, but I was in the back of the crowd and too tired to do anything. It's a good thing you were there instead. I didn't really do much either. I'm glad the school is actually going to do something about Mr. Dolores, though. There were a ton of other students who witnessed the whole thing, so there's no doubt he crossed the line. I hope Dolores gets what's coming to him. Rest assured, Adrian, the staff and I will make sure Mr. Dorcas Dolores faces the proper... Philip cuts him off sharply. No, he won't. In fact, I think this whole meeting is a big waste of time. Mr. Rokov coughed awkwardly and tried to regain his composure. And what do you mean by that, Phillip? What, am I wrong? It's not like Dolores ever gets punished for the crap he pulls. His brother's the head of the school board, after all. He gets away with everything. I assure you, Phillip, that those rumors floating around aren't necessarily true. Really? Like how Dolores messed with the student contacts and made sure Sissel didn't receive mail from the academy. That's why Sissel didn't show up for orientation on our first day. What about the time before that? Dolores pulled a bunch of strings to make sure Sissel didn't receive any scholarships or financial aid. If it wasn't for Sissel's anonymous donor, he wouldn't even be in school right now. After all this, did Dolores receive a single punishment? No. Let's just face it. The rat's not going to face consequences unless he's caught red-handed at something really bad. Heavy silence hung in the room as Phillip heaved out a long, drawn-out exhale. Mr. Rokov seemed at a loss for words. I don't blame him. I don't think I've ever seen Phillip so cross. He's usually so lighthearted. Tell me, Phillip, how do you know all this? Actually, that is a good question. How does he know all that? How? I guess I'm a bit nosy. Plus, Sissel's just a good guy trying to get his life back together. He doesn't deserve all this crap. Mr. Rokov glanced at his watch before returning to Phillip with a defeated sigh. Well, I believe we discussed all we could here. I've kept you two here long enough. Why don't you two go get some breakfast before the dining hall closes? Changing the subject, huh? Despite my growling stomach, I feel a bit reluctant to leave. Phillip wasn't as hesitant. He was already halfway to the door. Philip? What? I assure you that the staff and I will do our utmost to make sure justice is served. Really? I hope so. Yeah. Corruption! Mr. Rokoff stared grimly at Philip's retreating back until he disappeared from sight. After a while, he turned to me. His worried gaze made me slightly anxious. Adrian. Yes, sir? Look after your friend for me, will you? Philip's a responsible young man, but he's also known to cross the line for certain things. I'm just afraid he'll do something rash. Make sure to be there for him if he does. I'll do my best, sir. By the time we arrived at the dining hall, it was already packed with students massacring each other for tater tots. Thankfully, there was still some food left. Philip and I grabbed all the eggs and toast we could carry and managed to snag an empty table. The moment we sat down, I smacked my face into the table with an exhausted sigh. It's only morning, but things are already too heavy and tiring. Ugh, what a day! I felt a comforting pat on my back and mumbled many thanks. Suddenly, something freezing pressed against the back of my neck. It's cold as fuck! Wow, what a whim. You alright there, Adrian? Philip passed me a glass of iced tea. I glared at it tiredly. Good morning to you too, I guess. Sissel, when did you get here? Philip dragged me over here while you were busy making out with the table. Speaking of which, Philip, there are better ways of waking me up besides pressing iced tea to my neck. But you looked like you needed to cool off a bit. Sissel and I collectively groaned. It's too early for this shit. You're all a bunch of killjoys. I sighed and took a sip of my tea. It should be illegal for there to be this cheerful in the morning. Blah! I spit my tea all over the table and formed a rainbow in the morning sun. This tea is even more bitter than my soul. Why the hell is it unsweetened? Ah, I see you are not familiar with Georgia unsweetened tea. Philip nonchalantly took a bite of his toast as he opened up a newspaper. Nonsense, sugar is bad for you. You know, Philip, the more I get to know you, the more you start sounding like an old man. A newspaper at this day and age? Hey, I didn't judge you for streaking in the morning a few days ago. Oh, goodness. Yep, every day, every time. Almost every video I sneeze. Oh my god, my friggin' allergies, man. Okay. That wasn't... Is that how flirting works nowadays? Well, Sissel, you better watch out. Huh, I'll keep an eye out for him. How could you two be so mean to me? I thought we were friends. What else are friends for? Philip continued scanning the newspaper with indifference while munching on toast. The little guy seems pretty relaxed now that he's out of the office. Who would have thought he'd switch mood so quickly? I'm just glad he settled down, though. It was weird seeing Philip so quietly furious. Sissel was buttering a bagel when someone caught his eye. Philip, what's on the front page? Oh, wow, that's creepy looking. I glanced over curiously. The front page showed a large photo of a creepy guy in a hood. It says the Black Cat strikes again. Apparently he vandalized a corrupt cop's home this time. The Black Cat? You don't know the Black Cat? Never heard of him. Is he famous? Oh, right. You're not from this side of town, are you, Adrian? The Black Cat's sort of like a local hero around here. Hero? The guy's a criminal, Sissel. Why do you sound like an old man? Jesus, dude. Who cares? He'll always be a hero in my book. Oh. That's cool looking. Anyway, Adrian, the Black Cat is this guy who pops out of the blue every now and then around here. He's sort of like Banksy, but with a skateboard and cooler, and way more aggressive. He spray paints and vandalizes all houses of these assholes around the neighborhood and exposes them for the shit they do. Sure, what he's doing is illegal, but at least he's made some pretty big changes around here. He kind of sounds like an asshole himself if you really think about it. Well, yeah, he does, but the Black Cat's done a lot of great things for me. Like what? Well, this orphanage I used to live at, it's full of jackasses that starved the kids and never really paid attention to them. It was pretty much full-on Hunger Games if they're in there if you wanted to stay half alive. I ran away the first chance I could, but I always felt bad for leaving the younger ones back there. But then a few years ago, the Black Cat just appeared out of the blue. He ransacked and painted the building full of words like monsters and prison. Oh, I think I remember this on the news a few years ago. The West Orphanage incident. His vandalism caught a lot of media attention. There's a full-on public investigation of the place and it got shut down and reformed, right? Yeah, a bunch of the twats working there got arrested for child abuse and the city rebuilt the orphanage from the ground up. Sure, I had left before any of this happened, but one of the kids I know from this orphanage is finally living a happy life thanks to the Black Cat. He even got to start elementary school a few years ago. I never even got that chance. The air was heavy as Sissel quietly caught his breath. He blinked as if suddenly realizing where he was and flushed red. Sorry, I rambled on a bit, didn't I? Sorry for ruining the mood. Anyway, the Black Cat's a cool dude. You've got to at least admit he's done some good things. Anyone who can outrun the cops on a skateboard sounds pretty cool to me. So he's like Batman, but with spray paint. Sounds badass. Sort of. I guess you could say he's Catman. Sissel and I groaned. You're ruining the mood, man. Catman doesn't really, roll off the tongue the same way. Excuse me, what do you have against cats? We're totally cool enough. Hey, I never said... Oh, well, looks like it's time for class. Can we save the cats versus bats argument for later? Philip pouted into his toast while Sissel heartily agreed. As the three of us headed to class, though, Philip was back to his old grinning self. I sure hope it stays that way. I was dreading our creative writing class. The thought of seeing Mr. Dolores again only gave me a headache. Looks like he isn't here yet, thank God. As Philip, Sissel, and I plopped onto our seats in the very back of the lecture hall, Mr. Rokov entered the classroom and approached us. Good morning, gentlemen. I hope you are well. Oh, hey, Vice Principal. Have you fired Dolores yet? I'm afraid I'm here for an entirely different reason. Sissel, could you join me in the office right now? There are some matters that require your presence. Sure, I guess, but what's it about? It's quite private. I'll explain everything in the office. Sissel shrugged and followed Mr. Rokov out of the lecture hall with mild confusion. I have a bad feeling about this. Well, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but that didn't look too good. Maybe they're trying to get Sissel's side of the story, too, like how they did with us this morning? Adrian, you have too much faith in the school system. Or maybe you just have too little. One second, guys. Philip shrugged nonchalantly. It's not like they've ever proven themselves otherwise. Yo, cuties, how's it going? Owen leisurely plops down on the seat next to Philip. He winks and louges his arm around Philip's shoulders like an armrest. Philip looks nonplussed. Am I interrupting something? Well... Besides people's personal space, not at all. Welcome to class, Owen. Duh, come on, little guy, I just missed you. You're always up so early and come back to the dorm so late. A little affection every now and then wouldn't hurt. Owen leaned over and rested his head on top of Philip's. He doesn't seem to notice the way Philip was gritting his teeth with irritation. Sorry about that. I haven't had a lot of stuff to do. But hey, at least now we can get back to our roommate bonding, am I right? He leans into Philip's chair until their cheeks are almost rubbing together. Their whiskers were tickling each other from their close contact. Let me know if you want me to do anything for you, kiddo. Anything at all. My God. Owen, you might want to back down a little. What, you jealous, Adrian? Philip let out a feral hiss. Can I have my chair back? Oh, right, sure. Why is everyone so grumpy all of a sudden? You'll need to let loose. Live a little, you know? Where's the teacher? Isn't class supposed to start right now? Ouch, now you're giving me the cold shoulder? You're breaking my heart, man. Owen inched a flirty hand onto Philip's thigh with a wink. I'm sure if you just open up a little more, we get along fine. Oh, dear. Oh, boy. Whoa, what's with that look? That's your hint to piss off, Owen. Or is that not straightforward enough? Jeez, I was just trying to be nice. Nice? Nice? Do you have any idea how much of a pain you've been the last few days? You have zero sense of boundaries. A damn preschooler knows how to behave better than you. I didn't think. This is horror music. You never do. It's a bit irritating, actually. I've told you again and again. Oh, hey, Owen, back off a little, please. But no! Let's just keep creeping up on me. I'm sure I'll like you more than... Am I just a new toy for you to play around with? Am I just someone for you to experiment and fill up? Did you even bother to think of me as a person? Give me a fucking break! Jeez, wow. I need some air. So he phases out of reality. Phillip shakily stood up and stumbled out of the room, as though he had the wind knocked out of him. The room was silent and all eyes were on Owen, who looked stunned in disbelief. I was shocked myself, but now's not the time to worry about that. Follow Phillip. I'm going to go after Phillip. Will you be alright on your own for a bit, Owen? Yeah, go ahead. I'll be fine. Huff, huff. Where's Phillip? I've ran several circles around campus already, but there's no sign of him. He wasn't at his usual spot on the roof, either. Where else could he be? Echo! Called, Adrian? Yeah, Echo, you always seem to know a little about what's going on. Care to do your usual ghostly magic and help me find Phillip? Oh, for the last time, I'm not a... I wish I knew where Phillip is. Ah! Now you're getting it. He's not on campus anymore. There's a place in the forest by Bradley Lake. A place that Phillip goes to wherever he wishes to be alone. Think you can find it? You mean that rickety old cottage? No, that doesn't sound right. The place is a bit too creepy to be comforting. God damn it, Echo, why do you have to be so cryptic? Watch out for any falling trees. Whew. Well, here's Bradley Lake. There should be a place where he wishes to be alone. Maybe there's... Yesterday was a fork in the road. When I took a right, I ended up at the creepy cottage. Maybe if I take a left... Oh. Wishing well in a place like this? Wishing well. Oh, Phillip, even your cryptic hints are puns. Huh. Up ahead laid Phillip, curled up on the ground next to the well. His face was buried in his hands as he pulled at his hair in frustration. Phillip, are you okay? Adrian? Ah! I shouldn't have snapped. Is Owen alright? He looked pretty shaken up when I left. Phillip groaned into his hands, shaking his head vigorously. I'm not that angry, honestly. It's just... As Phillip tried to steady his breathing, I crawled next to him on the forest floor and patted his back comfortingly. After a while, he heaved a long, painful sigh. Sorry about that. The whole yelling thing. I've just been so frustrated at everything going on around here. And I just sort of snapped all of it onto Owen. He's a good guy, I just really damn irritating sometimes. But he didn't deserve that, I suppose. Ooh, excuse me. The edges of Phillip's eyes were red as he rested his head against the stone of the wishing well behind us. I reached out a hand and gently ruffled his hair. You weren't exactly wrong when you yelled at Owen. He has been making you uncomfortable these last few days, hasn't he? Just a little. That doesn't exactly justify exploding on his face, does it? Sure, he's been a bit annoying, but Owen's been so welcoming and kind to me. He's been really nice to me, too, and I kept brushing him off. Phillip breathed a low laugh. How much do you want to bet he hates me now? Do you really think he's the type of guy to hold a grudge? You just have to go back and sort things out with him. You've been a bit stressed with everything that's been going on, that's all. I'm sure Owen will understand. He doesn't hate you. There was a long silence before Phillip looked up from his hands. Should I, though? Alright, guys, I'm gonna pause it right here. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!